Hey, it's Jeff with ID10T Garage, and we're back working on the 1971 Ford Torino GT. In this week's episode, we're really going to focus on getting the torque box ready to be completed. Basically, we're going to have to cut out the gusset in front of the torque box, and we're also going to have to work on a little bit of patching on the frame rail, and then we're going to finish it up, put the top on the torque box after we seal it pretty good on the inside. So let's get to it.
In my veins, I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame, cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stop.
Hey everybody, we're about to get back to work on the Torino. I know we all left off and I had the top ready to be welded into the torque box, but that's not the case. I forgot a couple little things, a few little details that I have to do before I can do that welding. And what that is basically is I need to come over here in this wheel and I need to cut out this gusset and probably replace part of the frame rail underneath there to make sure everything's structurally sound to weld to the torque box. And I put some holes here because there was a lip here initially, so I'll clean this up, get everything welded back together, and once I finish doing this, we'll get that torque box top on there. So that's what we're about to get started on, so let's do it. Alright, we got rid of the gusset, and now I'm working on cutting out some of the frame rail. Let's see if I can get under here and show you guys what I'm doing. So basically we've got some rot right here. It's not horrible. Honestly, it's just this little tip of it is rotted out where it connects to the torque box. So I'm going to try to cut this out and then patch it together. That way we have a nice solid metal and we don't have to worry about further rust. So it's about what we're about to work on. I don't know if it's gonna, really record on the camera. That's a hard spot to get recording, so I might just be doing this off camera. But once I start putting the gusset back in, definitely be recording that. All right, with some modification, I managed to get the '69 Mustang Gusset to work. So basically, it's not too hard to get this to work. And I'll show you on this one. Basically, I kept this the same and I altered this. So I basically just smashed this little angle flat, and that allowed me to get it here where I needed to, and drilled some holes, and basically I secured it here and here, and then pounded it with the hammer to flatten it out against these surfaces. So no big deal, takes a little work. Then I pounded this in and used this screw to bring it in real tight, and that gives me a nice flat surface. Now I just got to weld it in, and I also beveled this little area out right here. That way I can squeeze my hose, my fuel hose through here, which is about where the previous one was. So, and I've got no sharp edges here either. I made sure to bevel that out nice, and plus the curve of the torque box is here, so I don't have any real sharp edges. So my hose should go through here nicely. That was the biggest, alteration to the box itself, or the gusset, I mean. I thought about, widening this out, but I don't believe that's going to match up where the fuel hose, the metal hose that attaches right here goes. So I just really pulled it out there. So, I mean, I might need to do some alteration, but for the most part, this is ready to be welded in. I welded in a bottom plate over here on the back of the torque box. I'm sorry, on the frame rail. That's why you see this little excess ledge here. I flattened it out pretty good, but I'm pretty sure that's part of the piece I put in. It was just a piece of 14 gauge to cover the rod out. So I cut a lot out, and there's still a gap on the other side, but I think it's supposed to be there based on the the part of the frame rail was there. It just seemed like it was too beveled to be a rotted out spot. So I will put some seam sealer on the inside and kind of, you know, do some more work on that. But we're about to weld this in and go from there. All right, we got this 69 Mustang Torque Box Gusset welded in. So I've got spot welds on the bottom on this frame rail and on the bottom of the torque box. I also welded it down this spot. I got some weld there in the corner because this lip had pulled off, so I wanted to get it back and secured in there. And then of course we came here and bent this piece in to get it nice and flat, and then welded it all the way around, and a spot weld in the center, so that's held in smooth. So we did that. We also went ahead and prepped our top of our torque box and drilled all our spot welds in it. So got it set and ready. Now what we got left to do before we can really weld that in is I'm gonna have to come back and clean all this up, because, you know, our weld, you know, kind of messed up the paint that I had done here. So we'll clean this up, repaint the inside, then seam seal it real good. And then once we do that, we'll weld that top of that torque box in. So that's it for today. See you tomorrow. Hey everybody, we're back. So we're gonna get this torque box top in. That's the goal of today. I don't know if it'll happen. I just don't know how my paint is gonna go, because I'm putting Rust-Oleum in on the inside of this torque box, and I gotta clean off the paint first from where the weld basically burnt it up. So like I said in previous instances, I just got ahead of myself a little bit without that gusset in place, so that kind of messed things up a little bit. So we're going to clean up that area and then put more paint on there, get our seam sealer on there, and if it allows enough time, then we'll weld the top on. It's just a matter of kind of have to let the paint dry enough to do some of that stuff. So either way, time to get to it. All right, we got that coated back up. For the most part, it's looking good. Now I'm going to go back to fitting the top panel while this dries, because we'll have to seam seal this before we put that on. But because I made some alterations over here on the rail, this is basically goes to the transmission mount, but that was rotted out there on the end, so I had to fix it. And because I had to fix it, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to adjust, maybe chop the corner off of the top panel that goes over that. So I'm going to check that out real quick and see what happens. Alright, had to make a little bit of adjustment. Basically, we had to cut the tab off the end. No big deal. That allowed us to clear my new little piece there. I also went ahead and sprayed some more weld through primer along this back edge. Obviously, you can see it's meshing with the Rust-Oleum in there, but you know, no big deal. but I just want to make sure this edge where I'm going to be doing some welding is coated. I don't want any bare spots where it can rust easily. So that's where we are right now. Yet again, just going to let this dry a little bit, then we're going to seam seal it, and then we're going to start welding this top of this torque box in. So just going to work on a bunch of stuff like that. Alright, we seam sealed that all up and got this put in here. Got my 2 bolts in, got some nice spots to weld right there. And then we'll probably have to hammer down the end a little bit, but other than that, we about to start welding this in. Alright, there it is. We got it all welded in. Got a bunch of spot welds on the top and on the side. I'll have to remove those bolts and get those welded in. We'll have to kind of grind it down on this top bar. I had a little bit of issues there, but our spot welds went good there. Got a nice bead on the bottom. Had a couple little issues where I was just getting my angle wrong. I had most of my issues because I couldn't see very well. I was having some struggles up here, so I was kind of welding a little blind at times. But we got the top of the torque box in. We're going to have to, like I said, clean it up. We'll put some paint on it, and we'll seam seal it. But we've got that torque box done. So that's it for the night. Later. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this week's episode. As you saw, we got the torque box pretty much complete. We got the new gusset modified from a 1969 Mustang Gusset with some minor alterations to get that thing to work. We patched up our frame rail, which was kind of a pain in the ass, not completely complete. We'll have to wait till we get the structure back in the car so we can raise it up and get to one of the spots to fix it. But then we got the top of the torque box welded back in. We have it all sealed up on the inside, and we just need to do a small little bit to complete it. There's a piece that attaches to your rocker that needs to be welded back in as well. But that's really it. And then we're going to start cleaning up next week. We're going to start focusing on the new floor and on the toe board. So we got the one-piece toe board and the one-piece torque box. I'm sorry, floor pan. That's what we're going to get focused on pretty soon. So we got to get some more metal out of the car just in the back section to decide how far back we want to go. We've got to start getting all our brackets off the old metal and put on the new floor pan. Specifically more the seat belt retainers and stuff like that. Need to pull them off and probably weld them onto the floor pan before we even think about putting it in. That way I don't have to work under the car to get those on. Just be a little easier in general. So that's what we'll do next week. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, comment, look at my other videos, and we'll see you later. Peace.
In my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping out.